All right. So, yes, you still have a test tomorrow. So, I want to take the time to work out all of these questions on your study guide so you guys can make sure that you know how to do them. And that way you are ready for tomorrow's test. All right. So, numbers 1 through 3, we're pulling out a greatest common factor. So, we have some fairly large numbers here. So, I'm going to think of my factors of 36. So, I have 1, 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and 6 and 6. So, all 60 and 48 are not divisible by 36. They're also not divisible by 18, but they are all divisible by 12. So, I'm going to pull out 12 as my greatest common factor. Alright, next I'm looking at the variables. So, for D, we can take out a D squared. They each have at least one F, and only the last one has a K, so we can't take that out as the greatest common factor. Now we're going to divide each one of these. So 48 divided by 12 is 4. Okay, then we're subtracting our exponent, so 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 60 divided by 12 is 5. 3 minus 1 is 1. And then the two F's will cancel out. 36 divided by 12 is 3. The D's cancel out, the F's cancel out, and you're left with the K. Alright, moving on to number 2. 18 and 9 are all divisible by 9. Since there are no variables with this 9, we can't take any out, so we're just dividing everything by 9. So 18 divided by 9 is 2, and since we're not taking out any variables, we just leave those the same. Again, 18 divided by 9 is 2, and 9 divided by 9 is 1. So you need to remember to put that 1 there because you're still dividing, it doesn't just disappear. Okay, and then moving on to number 3. So you have, we can take out a 10, right? Because 30, 40, and 50 all divisible by 10. We can take out an x squared and a y, right? Again, we're looking at our smallest exponents for x and y. So then you get negative 3x squared minus 5xy plus 4y is your final answer. Remember, when you're dividing, you subtract your exponents. Okay? So let's move on to our next page. Okay, so here we are factoring by grouping. Right, so we have group 1, group 2. So from group 1, my greatest common factor is 10y squared. So 30 divided by 10 is 3. Y cubed divided by y squared is y. And then 10y squared divided by 10y squared is 1. For my second group, I'm going to take out a negative 3 because I need to switch this sign to make it match this one. So then I have 3y and then a minus 1. So then you pull down your coefficients or your stuff in front to make your first set of parentheses and then drop down one of your second ones. Alright, so let's do number 2. Again, we have our first group, second group. So 12 and 20 are both going to be divisible by 2, right? But they're also divisible by 4. So again, you want to try and pick the biggest one. So let's take out a 4 and the r squared, leaving us with 3r plus 5. My second group, 15 and 25, are both divisible by 5. So I'm left with 3r plus 5 again. Remember, you want these to match. If they don't match, then that means you need to either take out a bigger number or take a negative sign out of your second one. All right, so then we have 4r squared plus 5, forming our first set of parentheses, and then just dropping down one of the other ones. Okay, moving on to number 3. So, group 1, group 2. So, I'm going to take out a 4k squared here, leaving me with 7k minus 1. I can take out, again, look here, my signs don't match, so I need to take out a negative 5, and then pull out, or then that leaves me with a 7k minus 1. So then 4k squared minus 5 becomes my first set. 7k minus 1 becomes my second set. Moving on to number 4 here in our factoring by grouping section. So, two groups, 56 and 64, are both divisible by 8. You can take out the n squared then, leaving me with 7n plus 8. Here I can take out a 10, leaving me with 7n plus 8. So then 8n squared plus 10 becomes my first set, and 7n plus 8 becomes my second set. Alright, so there are our answers to our factoring by grouping section for the study guide. And let's move on to page 3. Alright, so again, you guys all have a copy of that factoring guide. If you don't, or if you have lost it, I have emailed it to Miss Jones so she can print you out a copy if you need it. I will also email it to all of you so you have a digital copy as well. Okay, so remember, step 1 is to multiply, step 1 really is to look for the greatest common factor. So 7, 6, and 1, there's nothing we can divide there. So then we multiply 7 and 1, which is 7. Right? Since this is negative and this is positive, right, we need one of each sign. So like our factors are 7 are 1 and 7. So it means we need one negative and one positive. Since this is positive, our smaller number gets the negative sign. Right? So now we take that 6m, it becomes negative 1m plus 7m. Right? And then bring down your other stuff. Then we do factoring by grouping. So group 1, group 2. We can take out an m from the first one, leaving me with 7m minus 1. There's nothing we can take out there, so remember you've got to pull that 1 out. So it's 7m minus 1. So then, again, my m and my plus 1 become my first set, and 7m minus 1 is my second set. Alright, number 2, again, 3, 10, and 7 are not all going to be divisible by the same number, so there's no greatest common factor there. So jump to step 2, which is multiplying 3 and 7, which is 21. Factors of 21 are 1 and 21, and 3 and 7. So we need both of these to be negative, and we need to combine them together to get negative 10, so that's going to be negative 3 and negative 7. So negative 3k minus 7k. Bring down my 3k squared, bring down my plus 7. Then we're factoring by grouping. So group 1, I can take out a 3k, leaving me with k minus 1. Group 2, I can take out a negative 7, leaving me with k minus 1. So then my final answer is 3k minus 7 times k minus 1. Right, number 3, again, there is no greatest common factor here, so we're just going to jump right in. 3 times 20 is 60. Yes, you have to list all of these factors or else you are not going to find what you need. 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10. So we're looking for 2 that we can, again, where this is positive, we need both of these to be negative, because a negative times a negative is positive. So we need something that's going to add to negative 16. So negative 6 and 10. Bring down our first two. Then we factor by grouping. So take out a 3n, leaving me with n minus 2. Take out a negative 10, leaving me with n minus 2. And that's going to make my final answer 3n minus 10 and n minus 2. Moving on to number 4. Again, no greatest common factor. So we have 5 and 8, which is 40. So we have 1 and 40, 2 and 20. 3 doesn't go into it. 4 and 10, and 5 and 8. So we need things that are going to add to negative 14. So that's going to be 4 and 10. So negative 4x minus 10x. Bring down these. And again, we are grouping. Take out an x from the first one, leaving me with 5x minus 4. Take out a negative 2 from the second one, leaving me with 5x minus 4. Making our final answer x minus 2 times 5x minus 4. Sorry guys, that one's kind of awkwardly written there. Okay, number 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 5 is 10. So we have 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. Since this is a minus sign, we need two numbers that will subtract to give us negative 3. And since this is a negative, our larger number needs the negative sign. So that is going to be 2x minus 5x. Bring down my minus 5. Bring down my 2x squared. And then we're grouping. So 2x becomes x plus 1. Take out a negative 5, which becomes x plus 1. So our final factors are 2x minus 5 and x plus 1. Alright, number 6. Again, we don't have any greatest common factors. So 5 and 12 are 60, right? So 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10. So we need factors that are going to add up to 19, which would be 4 and 15. So my 19p becomes 4p plus 15p. Bring down my plus 12. Bring down my 5p squared. Group. So then I can take out a p here, leaving me with 5p plus 4. I can take out a 3 here, leaving me with 5p plus 4. Then I get p plus 3 and 5p plus 4. Alright, number 7. No greatest common factors here either. So we're multiplying 8 and 3, which gives us negative 24. So we need factors of 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. So this one's a little bit tricky, right? So technically 4 plus 6 is going to give us 10. However, this is a negative 24. So that means we need one of each sign, right? So we need 12 minus 2 to give us that negative 10. Right? So again, if this is negative, your factors need to have one of each sign. So again, if the number on the end is negative, you have to have one of each sign here. So you're subtracting your numbers, not adding them. This is positive, you add. If it's negative, you subtract. So bring down your 3n squared. Bring down your minus 8. And group again. So we can take out an n, leaving us with 3n minus 2. Here we can take out a 4, leaving us with 3n minus 2, making that final answer n minus 4 times 3n minus 2. Okay, so there's all of our general factoring problems. Now let's move on to our difference of squares. Okay, so remember we get 2 sets of parentheses. Take the square root of the first one, so that is 7x and 7x. Take the square root of the second one, which is 5 and 5. Then we get a plus and a minus. Alright, let's move on to number 2. Alright, square root, so 3x, square root, 4y, plus, minus. Again, it doesn't matter what order you put. You could do minus plus if you really want to. Doesn't matter. Number 3. So remember everybody's favorite, the invisible ones, right? So square root of 1x squared is just 1x. Square root of 9 is 3. And again, that plus and that minus. Number 4. So 6a and 6a, 5 and 5, plus and minus. Alright, and then 5 and 6. So honor students, you will have one on your test where you have to take out a greatest common factors like this. If you are not in honors, you only really need to know how to do these first 4. Okay? Still good to know how to do them regardless, but those aren't going to come up on your test. So 24 and 54, both divisible by 6, leaving you with 4x squared minus 9. And then you factor by grouping this, difference of squares, so that becomes 2x, 3, and 3. Alright, and then bring that 6 down in front. Alright, number 6, you can take out a 6, leaving you with 9b squared minus 1. So then that becomes 3b minus 1, 3b plus 1, and again, bring down that 6. Okay, so if you guys have any questions that I didn't cover in this, please email me if you need help. Even if you're not sure how to ask your question, email me anyway. Right? If you feel like you need to Zoom with me, even in the morning in study hall, to do some practice questions, if you need some help then, I'm more than happy to help then. I'm going to talk to Miss Jones to see about maybe setting me up on Zoom so you guys can come up and ask me questions during your test. But your test has 14 questions. That's it. You guys should have plenty of time to get that done in class tomorrow. So don't stress. Just make sure you practice, and you guys will be just fine.